Money,
we...
money, money. Money, money, money. We got that fly, you been money. We talk about that money. We all about that money. Money, money, money. Money, money, money. We got that fly, Nubian money. We talk about that money. We all about that money. We love our black skin, our melanin, always focusing in on that money. We always win, money never thin, 'cause we hustling, always focusing in money, 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 money. We got that money, 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 money. We that fly Nubian money. Boss talk only, we stack it up.
Good morning. Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome to Fly Nubian Money, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money. My name is Tiara Williams. I'm also known as Miss Black Hollywood and Karma J. It just depends on the day. And today we are talking about something really interesting. You know, it's graduation time. It's time where seniors are graduating from high school, and naturally they are receiving graduation gifts, having graduation parties. Well, I came across a story. Actually, it was presented as text messages until I went down the rabbit hole. But basically, a mother presented her daughter with a graduation gift of a Honda, a Honda to be specific. And the reactions to that was a little off-putting. The young lady said that she didn't want the car, and because it was not to her standards and really to what the family standards, I guess, that she didn't want it. And so it really made me think about how we've raised our children, how we're raising our children. The fact that I feel like millennials in general, and I'll say because we're the millennials, well, I'm the millennial, but I feel like millennials, what y'all like, Generation X, right? X, millennials, we have tried to give, I think, our children what baby boomers could not give like I feel like that something happened in the matrix, right? I don't know if that's correct okay, but I feel like we've given our children so much that that just maybe they can't accept, or they can't see how good they have it. So today we're going to have this conversation, and of course I can't have it by myself. I have the flyest queens on the planet. I'm joined by Marlo Layson, my good girlfriend, who is a journalist and a journalist, a writer. My sis does it all. A film producer, television producer. Dr. Angeline, who is a CEO of Neurons Communiverse. Did I get that right? Melanated Neurons Communiverse.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. I got it. It's Monday. So let's hop into this conversation because I think it's going to be a great one. When you guys came across the story, first of all, did you see it? No. I got 3 questions as our first question. Did you see this before we're having this conversation now? What did you think? And what was your first car? I'll start with you, Marlo.
So I don't know if I saw this particular one because there's been a few of these types of incidents. I don't know if I saw Honda Accord Gate specifically, but I did see some stuff as we were preparing for the show. I thought you should have took your foot off the giving pedal probably 3 gifts ago so that we wouldn't end up here. And my first car was a 1995 Chevy Corsica that I purchased and financed myself.
Yeah.
Mama Walterine didn't have nothing to do with it. That's what I got because I had a baby and we was getting up and off the bus with a stroller, and I was like, not tomorrow. Tomorrow we get in a car.
All right. Shout out to the ones funding their own first cars. Okay. All right, Dr. Angeline, what about you?
So no, I didn't see it, but when I did go back and start reading the text, I just started laughing because I wasn't surprised. It seems like it's the norm almost right now. So I wasn't surprised. I had my own thoughts, but I'll save them for the conversation. And then my first car would have been a brand new car from my parents, but I got in big trouble. So they were like, "Oh, so you're not getting a new car, you're gonna get a used car. You think you're cute? This is what you're gonna get." And it was a Buick like Skyhawk. I think it was a Buick Skyhawk. That's what my but the next car I purchased myself. So
Okay. All right.
yes.
Okay. All right. So my first car was my feet. My first car was a bus. No, but when I was able to buy my first car, I think I had a 1994 Cutlass Supreme. I purchased my first car in New Orleans, Louisiana by myself. I bought it from an older lady who had kept it up really nice. So every time I would stop at the gas stations, like people, like guys would be trying to like buy my car, like, "That's your car, can I buy it?" But I was so proud of Gangsta Girl. I remember I was proud of her because I called her Gigi for short. But I just loved that car because, it to me it was like I purchased it on my own. I took my little refund check and I put it towards, you know, my first car. So anyway, so that was first. So let's jump off into the conversation now. I will get to y'all children or maybe gifts later, but let's just set the foundation for the conversation. And yeah, let's watch a video. I want to know what the people in the chat. Well, what was your first car? What was your first car? And did your parents buy it for you? Is my question. And obviously, I am on the ones and twos today, so thank you for your patience in advance. Um, all right, cool. Marlo, while I'm talking, tell me about your while I'm uploading the video. Tell me about your favorite thing about your car.
It was mine. It was an accomplishment. I remember going in the dealership and it didn't, I was able to do it. I had a little money for the down payment. Like it just was my first grown up accomplishment. And so it felt really good. It felt good. The opposite of what this young lady is saying, it felt good for me not to
Researching,
put
it
that
seems
cost
like it's
burden on my
real.
mom. Like
This
I felt
mom bought
like
her daughter a brand new Honda. This right here, brand new for graduating high school. When she presented it to her daughter stormed away and left. The mom, confused, she texted her daughter this. She said, "Where are you?" She said, "With dad." She said, "You walked away like you didn't like the car." She said, "I don't." She said, "It's just not my style." Brand new Honda, paid for. She said, "I appreciate your mom, but yeah, that's not my style." She said, "You drive a G-Wagon, so me having a basic Honda is just weird." What? How are these kids wired so differently? When I graduated high school, I didn't have a car. I got out of graduate high school and was still working. I had to work until I got my own car myself. And when I got it in 1996, it was a 76 or 70, what it was, 72 Granada, 76 Granada, something like that in 1996. What? And I was happy. I was happy driving my 76 Granada back and forth to Steak and Shake. Yeah. Your mom bought you a brand new Honda, balloons and everything hanging out of it, no payments. She paid for your college. Your whole college is paid for. She says no rush for you to get out. They go to text right there. The mom said there's no rush for you to get out of the house and nothing. Your whole life is set. Other kids can only dream of this. And you're mad. And then the audacity of you grown folks that I seen on somebody's post in the comments saying, really, to be honest, the mom's to blame because if you raise your child up around all this luxurious stuff, of course she's going to expect the same thing. And half of y'all over 40 years old that was in the comments. I'm looking at y'all looked at your profile. Y'all old and saying this. Y'all, man, you got to be kidding me, man.
All right, all right, all right, all right. So That's the foundation for this conversation, right? Dr. Angeline, I'm gonna start with you. What were your thoughts after hearing more details about exactly what happened, according to the text messages and all of that?
So again, I wasn't shocked. I was like, wait a minute, that's a nice car, right? So that's what I thought. Then I was trying to think like these kids, and I was like, okay, even if you didn't like it, there was a way in which you could have handled it. But the thing that got me the most is when she thought she was supposed to get a Benz or a BMW. Now then my whole thought process changed. I was like, I ain't trying to think like them no more. Let me just see this part. Who in the world? I was with the mom, like, yeah, your mom is 40 something years old and you are how old? And this car is paid for. And then when I saw the college was paid for, and your mom said you could stay at the house as long as you want and stack your money if you're working. Nah, then my whole attitude just changed because I was just like, what in the world is going on here? Like, what is going on? I did think ungrateful, entitled. But I don't know what would make her think that she would be entitled to a G Wagon or a Mercedes simply because her mom has one. No, but I'll wait and tell you what I would do with the car and how she would learn to be grateful. I'll wait for that question. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. What about you, Marlo? What was your response now that you have a little bit more insight? And what we get to what were your thoughts?
I just, I don't know what is the world coming to. Deborah said it's a social media mindset, and that's so true, right? Like everything is about appearances.
Hmm.
What about you deserves a $70,000 car just because it's at the crib already? Just because they already got one at the crib? No, you need to. It it's kind of unfathomable to me, right? I remember, I give y'all an example. Y'all know, I say Mama Walterine. Mama Walterine be in the chat all the time, so she will amen if she here today. My
Hmm.
mom was an avid seafood lover. She loved boiled crabs. In Louisiana, boiled blue crabs are the thing. Crabs are more expensive than crawfish.
Hmm.
When she go to the seafood market, she gonna get her some crabs and she get me a little bit of crawfish, right? She's getting the upcharge thing because she the person that's going out and doing the work. But I'm happy that I was thought about when she was there because she could have gone, got her crabs, and not gotten me anything. And I think that some of this is we're so busy trying to give our kids everything we never had. We are not protecting and developing a mindset that they really need to be able to navigate through the world. And that's what this is. And I'm not going to even say mom did it because obviously she know how to temper expectations. It's a paid for Honda,
Hmm.
which means you got 45 years of driving in this car, girl. Don't you know what a Honda? Like, you just a silly goose in these streets. And part of it is parenting. Parents are raising silly geese, and it's playing out on social media for all of us to like pick apart and judge and consider. And hopefully, we're doing better with our own kids as we see it.
Yeah, I mean, it really makes me think of my own daughter and, the things that, because I see certain things in my daughter, right? I see certain things in my daughter in terms of what she has, as opposed to what I had or me and her father had, right? And her life is just better, right? Which is the way it's supposed to be. Our children's lives are supposed to be better. They're supposed to have more opportunity and more, and more. And sometimes I think the struggle is how to still allow them to experience hardship and grit when you're also sheltering them from hardship in a way, right? They don't have to do some of the things or have to be solution oriented, right? So for example, Lauren and I were doing something. I can't remember exact. She was trying to get something to work. I bought her something and she was trying to get to work and it wouldn't work. I said, "Oh, all you gotta do is do this and then this and then this. We just gonna rig it." And she was like, "I would have never thought to do that." Right. Like, but like her mind won't. As a matter of fact, when it wouldn't work, it was like, ah. I was like, no, let's just get it to work. It took all of 2 seconds, right? And so to me, when I was thinking about it, I hope that wasn't a reflection of life, right? For her, where it's like, I can't, and that's it, right? And so what I'm saying is sometimes us doing all the things and them having all the things is a good thing, right? And in a sense where they don't have to work hard for it. But I think us having and building grit has made us very it just translates to everything else. How you do anything is how you do everything, right? So if I can pick this up and be like, no, let's just ring it, put a little oil on it and whatever it was. And she was like, oh, okay. But it translates, if you know what I mean, to everything, like having that kind of mindset. So for this young lady, it just made me think about, how, first of all, how sheltered she is, how sheltered, how privileged she is, and how much she doesn't even know. She doesn't have anything to even compare it to in terms of, what I don't have. Maybe depending on if her mom's able to pay off college and give her a brand new car and all of that. They live in a nice little area. They probably go to school around, her friends may be getting G-Wagon. So my question for you, Dr. Angeline, if that's the case, because I know that there are young kids being gifted Range Rovers, you watching My Sweet 16 around, like there's people do have money. And if you grow up in that environment, how can you manage expectations if you've been giving your children everything?
Well, that's a good question. I think that's where that overcompensation has to be balanced, right? So I look at my own life growing up, and I was given pretty much everything. But my parents were like, "Oh no, you're gonna get a job. You're gonna see what it's like to work, right? Like we're not gonna keep giving you everything. You're gonna have an understanding of what it's like to work, what it's like to spend your own money, what it's like to save your money, and what it's like to do the chores in the household, right? Like you're gonna have to still know this stuff to create a balanced person." And my dad would say, "Oh, and let me be real clear: we have, you don't." That's what he would tell me. We have, you don't. You're not there. So I don't want you to think that you are entitled to all of this, right? And then my dad would go on and on and on telling me all his horror stories growing up and all that kind of stuff. And so it would get to the point where you could repeat the story, like that's how well you knew the story. But I think that's how it has to be, a healthy balance. It has to be.
I agree. Marlo, we talked about social media and a little bit. We touched on social media a little bit. And I would say, obviously, we know that social media is not real life. But for children who have grown up in social media and they don't know anything else. The thing about a millennial is that we know what it's like to live without the internet. We know what it's like to live with the internet. So it's been a really interesting, which is a really it's a really interesting generation to be in. But for those children that aren't aware that what life is like outside and just being outside and not worried about having a phone in your hand and comparisons and what people have and flexing and flossing and all these things. What would you say, like, how do you manage that? Right, when there is a part of their reality that's etched into this thing that we're all on right now called the internet.
I think that it's about conversations, right? I remember my two older kids. My oldest is 30. The one under him should be 25 this year. And I just remember having conversations with them, right? This was around the time that, oh Lord, the Vine videos. I remember them little bitty 8-second videos. And this was like the end of Vine and the beginning of Snapchat. And it was a summer, and my daughter was like, "Oh, we ain't doing nothing. Like, you got that car, we don't be doing nothing. We got these clothes." I said, "Girl, let me tell you something. People are posting 15-second snippets of their life, and it's looking like it's lit." I was like, "I know, because I work in the industry where the reality is created. And I know that if you actually sat down and put a person's unedited life in front of people to consume, everybody would be asleep.
Mm-hmm.
We would all go to sleep because real life is boring, it's monotonous, it's very much a pattern, right? You have a rhythm to how your life flows. And I think that it's really about having conversations. And it's really about knowing that your kid understands what's real from what's fake. My youngest thinks that me and her dad are rich. In her mind, there's no doubt that we are highly wealthy people because she never gets told no, right? But she's also a dancer. She's also an honor student, right? She's an all around good kid. So she understands that the things that she gets are rewards for her being who she is. And I think that is nothing wrong with you explaining that because that's how real life goes, right? Real life is about you get out of things what you put into them. If you ain't putting nothing into the world, why would you expect to get everything out of it? And I think that if there's any failure, right, the millennials and the Gen Zs, who's a friend of mine posted something was like, the parents used to smoke cigarettes and tell you go play outside, right? So the kids that were raised by that mindset, I feel like we have overcorrected in many ways, and we have gone from forget the middle ground. We've gone all the way to the edge with parenting in terms of being gentle, in terms of this main character energy, this central character energy, like all of that stuff. We've just kind of let the cart drive the horse. And I think that some correction needs to be done. And hopefully videos like this bring things in parents' minds so that we can kind of reel our kids in because they all got to occupy this world with us and with one another.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. They're like, hopefully, we're not raising little narcissists, right? That are self-centered and like thinks that the world is supposed to bow to them just because they exist. But there's a part of me that feels like that main character energy that you speak of um is good. It's weird, right? Where it's good in a sense where it's confidence. I think there's a difference, right? There's a difference between having confidence and going out into the world and being productive, like you're saying, but then also wanting them to be audacious and have audacity and tell them that they are the center of, like to kind of carry that. That's encouraged. So, Dr.
Yeah.
Angeline, you know what I mean? So, you know where I'm going with this. So, it's like, I wonder if this young lady having standards, just go with me, y'all, for this. We're just going to, I'm a Gemini, right? My birthday is next Sunday. I step inside the box and then I step outside of it. So, so I wonder if this young lady is just saying, I'm going to have standards. Sometimes when I hear my daughter talk, it feels like, yeah, girl, live a little longer. But secretly, sometimes I'm like, I hope she keeps that standard about herself. Like, I don't want to accept less than this. So, Dr. Angeline, my question is this young lady somehow, again, we're stepping inside and outside the box, just setting the standard for herself in her life? Is it good to be audacious or have audacity in the mind? So maybe she'll go out and say, well, I grew up living this way, so I'm not going to live, but that's my bar, right? And is that a good thing?
I think it's a good thing, and I understand where you're coming from because that's where I was trying to go with her in the very beginning. Maybe she really did like the car. Maybe she really did want something that was a little bit better. And my birthday's Friday, so I went in and out with you too.
Come on,
So,
Gemini.
so now she can have that standard, but baby, does your money reach that standard right now? Okay, because
Right.
if you get, I had standards too, and when they bought me that Skyhawk child, my heart was broken. Do you hear me? Broken. And so, but for me, again, it was that balance, right? It was choices and consequences. And so, yeah, we could have bought you a brand new car, but you messed up. So now the consequence is I'm not going to reward you for bad behavior. Now we'll check this back out at another time. But yeah, no, I don't think anything is wrong with that, to have your standards, to set your standards and all of that. But they're your standards. Don't expect me to pay for your standards. And especially, sis, you probably just got your driver's license. Do you think I'm gonna buy you a $70,000-$80,000 car? Like, let's get real with this, okay? But again, as Marlo said, no, it doesn't appear that any conversations were happening. It doesn't appear that any type of balance was happening. And then, if I'm gonna be real, when I looked at the mom's some of her stuff on her internet, she was saying one thing but then saying another thing, and I was like, okay, so what's really some of that stuff that was on her made me begin to question, and then also made me begin to think maybe that's why this girl thinks the way she does. So yeah.
Okay, let's go to the next video. Let's go to the next video, and then let's add some perspective to this
I
thing.
don't like electric cars.
Wait, what?
For a Mercedes Benz, I don't like Tesla.
This is better than a Mercedes Benz.
I don't want no car that if I gotta charge it for it to work. I didn't want that. I could have just been walking. I would rather walk.
Right, you should be happy.
Put the keys back in your purse.
Oh, you're gonna be happy with that money.
You sure right. Give me them goddamn keys and let me put it back in my purse, and I'm gonna return this vehicle to wherever I got it from. Because you being very ungrateful and think you should be choicey and stuff. You entitled to whatever. Look, as a parent, I don't owe you no vehicle. You just should be grateful that I'm deciding to put my money to the side to buy you a vehicle. You right. You can use them goddamn legs and walk.
Back in your purse.
Oh, you're gonna be happy with that money.
How much is it? Told you I wanted a pink Mercedes Benz.
Okay, I couldn't get the Mercedes Benz, so you got that.
This is all you gave me for my sweet 16 and my golden.
$1,600 for
That's it for my sweet 16 and my golden birthday. Electric cars. I don't want to have to charge my car to get on it. You could have kept your gift. First birthday ever.
Baby, you a little bit too unappreciative. You know, a lot of people don't get shit for their 16th birthday. And you got a car and some money and you complaining about it. I bet you one thing, I wouldn't give your ass another dime, and I wouldn't even worry about how you get to and from school. Your ass better be on that bus or use them goddamn legs since you so unappreciative. And when you turn 18, buy your own shit. Won't you go buy I want to see you go buy these pink Mercedes Benz. Damn, these kids so ungrateful and entitled to shit. Like, nobody owe you nothing. All your parent is supposed to do is raise you right and send you into the world and hope and pray that you do a great job out there.
All right, so like I said, I went down the rabbit hole, baby. That's not AI right there, right? So I intentionally started to pull other videos that were like this, because this is a real thing, y'all. I went down the rabbit hole, and the kids really are ungrateful. Oh my God, right? I couldn't even imagine saying some of the things that I've watched. I couldn't pull every video. People, what they were saying to their parents, and the parents was just like, oh my God, I can't believe you don't like it. What did I do wrong? So I guess I'm gonna come to you, Marlo, because that's the thing. Like, I don't know if we as parents have this like guilt. I know Dr. Angeline says something about overcompensation, I believe. Why do you think well, I know the answer to why we overcompensate, but why is it? How can we just find a balance realistically? Like, how can we realistically find a balance, and what kind of boundaries, I think, do we have to set, not to, because sometimes it just, when Lauren asked me to do something and I know I have a little bit of money to do it, we're gonna do it, right? Like, is it sometimes I just say like, no, right? Or just be like, we're just gonna sit in the house this weekend. We're not gonna go out, we're not gonna do all the things. What are small things that we can start to do to manage that expectation of like, it's supposed to be lit all the time, and we're supposed to do the biggest things at the biggest heights, at the highlight of every day is a highlight.
That's it. We not, I always talk in sports analogies because I love sports. So I always talk in sports analogies, and I think that sports just applies to life, right? A family is a team, right? You could be the star on the team, but if you're the only one that's getting anything, what about the rest of the team? So I think that we really just have to start having real conversations. We have to stop looking at our neighbors, what's our friends, kids, parents doing. All of this, what is it? Comparison is the thief of joy. Now y'all wondering why y'all sad because you spend your whole life comparing and contrasting, trying to figure out how you can catch up, play up, surpass, whatever the case may be. And it just ends up, right? Like I said before, they got to go out in the world. They got to work with me. They got to work with Tiara. They got to work with Dr. Angeline. They have to be people's patients and all these other things when they have, like, stop thinking about parenting as this is my little baby to have and to hold. No, this is a human that you are cultivating to go out in the world and deal with other humans.
Yeah.
Your job is to make it as easy for me to have an interaction with your child as it is chemically possible in their brain. That's your job. Now, your kid got a chemical imbalance and can't whatever, then that's a different situation. But for the basic, everyday, average 9 out of 10 people, your job is to make sure that they can just show up in the world and contribute something. And I think that so much of this, even if your child inherits your business, right? Are they inheriting your business to tank it because you ain't gave them nothing that they need to build it up? Some of this is just we're not thinking things through in terms of being a parent. We understand what parenting is, but if we look at the way animals parent and we take a little hint from the bird that pushes the baby out the nest, right? The mama bird leave them birds in that nest wherever it is to go get that food, and they wait and come back, and guess what? The ones that don't, they be on your porch dead. So I think that we as humans, because we have all these emotions, cognition, we can think, we can use the internet, we got fingers and thumbs and all this other shit. I think that we always are losing the plot as it relates to our kids, and they end up going to jail and they end up going abroad and getting convinced to track some drugs back over the border because we've made money their God and it's the most important thing in their whole wide world. And we just got to start showing up for our kids, having real ass conversations, pointing out things in real time. Don't wait till 6 months down the line, your kid did some selfish shit. And if you really felt some kind of way, they did it in June, you don't want to talk about it till Christmas. No, stop that. Stop it where it starts.
And don't be scared to have the conversation. Yeah.
Yeah.
And don't be scared to have the conversation. I know that sometimes it's like we think that it's bad parenting. It almost feels like sometimes to be a disciplinarian is a bad thing, right? In terms of, oh, you're too strict. Oh, you are too, I came up when we were talking about Michael. Remember, we were having a conversation about the Michael Jackson movie, and I was looking across the internet, and people was coming down on Joe Jackson. And I always think, like, it may be not as extreme in terms of like whooping and beating and abusing, because there's a fine line. But I think that there's nothing wrong with seeing a child's talent and just being like, this is what we about to do. I got a plan for your life. I wish there was more Joe Jacksons, right? This is not where we're going to put our money. I would be interested. So funny, because I always have this conversation as well. And I'm coming to you, Dr. Angeline. But every time I'm having a conversation with some of my friends, let's say, and we're talking about issues in the Black community, like let's just say like prom, prom send-offs that cost $30,000 and $50,000 and helicopters and rank, right? Most of the time, the dad is not anywhere around, right, to check and balance things, because in most cases a father's gonna be like, so what we're not gonna do is get this kid a helicopter. Like, are you thinking, right? One with good sense, like a good father, right? And so I think that women sometimes overcompensate because there are not men in the house, right? So if we've learned that the mother and father, from what we know, are not together, so even from the text messages, like, I'm going to my dad's house, right? Whether that's the truth or not, it's obvious that the father is not in the home. So I think that, that's something else to consider, that when the family is kind of broken up in that way, there is room for an overcompensating mom who wants to give their child everything, and a child that, doesn't know boundaries, doesn't know bounds, because a father is usually the one saying, well, we're not about to do that. You know, like when I'm like, well, let's just do this for Lauren. Lauren's dad is like, nope, no, she doesn't need that. No, we're not doing that. I'd be like, okay, well, that's it. You don't need it, right? But without it, I would be all somewhere else. So, Dr. Angeline, tell me what you think of that. Like sometimes, you know, just that idea. Like if the father is not in the house, sometimes a woman can run amok and do the most, trying to overcompensate.
So, no, I do understand that and I do see it. I'm laughing though, because I'm thinking about my sister, right? And the father wasn't in the home with my niece. My sister wasn't that one that was like, oh, okay. My niece got cussed out. My niece got told off. My
Mm-hmm.
niece, but when she went to her grandparents' house, then they tried to do all the overcompensating. And so it caused friction for a minute there,
Mm-hmm.
right? But I also think of what you're saying is so true. Because I remember when my dad said to me, listen, you ain't my daughter. You took for me to be your friend, right? I'm not your friend right now. Okay. That's
Mm-hmm.
not my responsibility of having you right now at this younger age. I have a responsibility to make sure that you're going to know how to go out in this world. You're going to know how to speak. You're going to know how to carry yourself. And so because I had that, and because I had uncles that did the same thing, some of my other friends, I did see how their families were, their moms may have tried to overcompensate because this one down the street, they saw other kids having it. And I think that there's nothing wrong with that as long as there is balance, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I keep saying that. I even think about so this is real funny. I remember one time I was like, I'm running away. And my dad was like, oh, girl, hold up. Let me go get the door for you. You don't have to run. I need you to walk. Because if you trip and fall, then it's going to be my responsibility. And guess what? You ain't packing nothing because you ain't pay for nothing. So the only thing you're going to take with you is what you pay. So, yeah, right? So like you're saying, if that man was there, he would check it and stop it. And so, yes, I do see that. But I do see some of these mamas out here too that will cuss them kids out in a heartbeat and let them know X, Y, and Z. But again, we all keep saying it has to be the conversations and it has to be the balance.
Yeah. I want to know from, I see some people just came in. Hey, y'all. Hello, and welcome to Fly to Be Money, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money. Let's just do a quick reset. Today, we are talking about a mother who brought her daughter a Honda for graduation. And basically, her daughter was like, you can take this Honda and shove it up your, because I wanted a Mercedes and I didn't get it. And so I wonder if influencer life, before we go to this next video, Marlo, has changed family dynamics. You know, has yeah, that's my question. Has the influencer, the influencer that 9 times out of 10 is scamming, we are learning, right? Going to jail for indicted for all type of fraud. Are they changing family dynamics?
I think so. And I mean, a lot of this, we don't know what's a skit. We don't know what's done as a content, as a rage bait. We don't know the difference unless you can really look through that person's timeline and kind of piece together a family dynamic. Because most people that are going to post something like this, she knew that that girl wasn't going to like that car, right? She knew because that girl probably had been talking about the Mercedes. She probably has shown her the G-Wagon or been like, I can't wait till I get my G-Wagon, like driving the mom's car. So I don't think that the mom was shocked by this. And I think that this influencer culture, because you can see kids like these little stupid pranks. I stopped that at the door. Baby, never think that you coming in here with your phone recording and you're going to cuss me out. Because what's going to happen is you're going to go viral for getting punched out. And then I will be in jail and then so on and so forth as how the snowball rolls. And I think that people don't, the influencer culture, because a lot of times the parents do get involved, right? And so we just see the family dynamic has changed for clicks. And again, I think it's part of that conversation. You got to let your kids know we ain't no influencer family. If you're not an influencer family, park it at the door, big dog, because if not, it's going to meet you. It may end up being in an embarrassing way. Maybe your child is looking to be an influencer themselves and they see that this culture is all about clickbait and rage. And so they just in an attempt to get some clicks, do something off the wall. And I think that the way when I was a kid, we had to talk about teen pregnancy with my mom. I had to talk about drug use. I had to talk about, my mom was about them conversations. She about to
Yeah.
sit you down. She gonna sit you down. You gonna watch this after school special, and then we gonna talk about it when it go off. Right? That's the kind of house I was raised in, and I think that you got to have those conversations. Otherwise, her theory was if I don't teach my kids in the house, the streets
The
are
world.
going to teach them. And
Yeah.
I think we, especially because we know these internet streets are fake, they
Mm.
paved with indictments, they paved with fraudulent activity,
Yes.
scams, schemes, things are staged in these internet streets. So you have to have, again, the conversation with your children at the youngest age, have the conversations that are age appropriate at a particular age, to let them know what is real.
Oh, did she freeze? Or did I freeze? Did you freeze? Oh, okay. Can you hear me? Okay.
I had a baby bump
Oh,
their
okay.
head
I'm
in the
like, what
background.
is
And I
real? And then we went, all right, so let's go to our next video, y'all. I'm like, what just happened? I was into it. What is real? Okay. All right,
real
so
was
cool.
crying in the
I
background.
know, I know. It's this baby, it's the summertime. I already know. Um, okay, let's go to this next video and add a little bit more to the perspective. For my people in the chat, tell me what you think. Like, what is your approach to parenting your children? Like, what's the balance that you set for them in terms of, how do you decide what to give them, what is too much, like what will cripple them, like that fine line between protection and like sheltering and all the things, like what do you let them experience and not experience? I want to hear from you. All right, let's go to this next video. Here we go.
Are raising monsters for children because you gave them everything, you gave them no discipline, no consequences, and now that they are approaching adulthood, they have no empathy for anyone else because you wanted them to have a simple and easy childhood, teenagehood, blah blah blah. Now you have raised a monster because how is your mom going to buy you a brand new Honda 2026, 25, whatever, and you're talking about, oh, this is just not my style. It's not a Benz. Oh, we're taking this car back. You're finna be taking a bus. You can take the bus, honey. The entitlement. Did you even work for this car? Like, sure, you got good grades. But you wouldn't know the value of $1 if it smacked you upside your head. It's not my taste. Because your mother drives a G-Wagon, you want a Mercedes, you're entitled to that? Insane.
So she said something that I really liked. I mean, I think we said it earlier, but not creating a monster, a narcissist, something that a kid that is just impossible to work with. Like, how will they really go from your house? You know what I'm seeing though? A lot of women and a lot of mothers, a lot of parents are raising children that can't leave the house, that are kind of like they're rearing them to almost like live in their basement for the rest of their lives, right? And so I wonder, Dr. Angelina, I'm gonna come to you. Um, Giving them everything will only leave them again in your basement. That sometimes when I'm talking to my daughter's father, I'm thinking like, yes, we can teach her how to make money in the world, but I also want to teach Lauren entrepreneurship. Like, if she don't want to leave the house, she ain't got to, because she can make money at home. She can make money wherever. She can fend for herself if something happens to us. She can, a lot of children aren't even being raised in a way that would allow them, if something happened to their parents, if something happened, they would be able to do really live life by themselves. So I guess my question to you is, how do you give? Because I'm always going to go back to this. I'm going to step inside the box and outside the box. Giving the child what they need, right? A little bit of what they want, but raising them in a way that doesn't raise little punks. Like, people that can't go out and live in the world, or if they don't hear what they want to hear, they have meltdowns. If they don't get what they want, they melt down, because ultimately that is the monster.
That's me.
That's you, Dr. Angeline. Yep.
Child. Again, we keep saying it. It's balance. But I think about too, um, growing up, like you said, even about the business and the entrepreneurial side, right? I had to watch my parents do taxes, right? I had to go with them to see what that was about. When my mom owned her store, I had to go to the store. I had to learn the businesses. Now I also had to learn because I had different chores that I had to do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. If I was going out Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, it had to be done. So things were in their rightful perspective, right? And so I know that by them taking time out to teach me this and to teach me that and to help me have an understanding of how does a house function? How does a wife operate? What does that look like, right? What does healthy communication look like? All those things helped me. Now, I ain't want to stay at home. Now, I'm going to tell y'all that right real quick. I wasn't that child that wanted to stay home
Right.
in the basement. I wanted to
Yeah.
be out. But I do think about that though sometimes when kids do want to stay home. I don't see anything wrong with it as long as they are doing something.
Hmm.
Because I think with community and society, when I look at other cultures and how they live and they allow two and three of their families to come together, live, save their money, go build their business and go out. That's something that we didn't do for various reasons, right? No blame, no shame, no judgment zone.
Hmm.
So I am watching even that dynamic with some moms and their children now, but their children are doing something. Their children are
Hmm.
working, or like you said, their children are experimenting, right?
Yeah.
Let me go try this and let me go try that. And it gives them that space to be able to do that.
Yeah. It makes me think of, and maybe nepotism isn't really related, but it made me think about, um, I saw a clip of Steve Harvey saying, like, what you said earlier. My kids ain't rich, but I'm rich, right? So I'm not leaving them anything. That everything that they earn, they'll have to get out the mud. Now, I don't necessarily believe in getting it out the mud. I don't believe in that. I do believe a good mother or father leaves an inheritance for their children. I believe that, it's biblical. It just that's what we're supposed to do, right? Nobody should start from zero. I just feel like that's how we stay behind in the Black community. Our kids always having to start over. Everybody's trying to, it takes generations to really build wealth, right? And so if that's the case, like, let's leave a little nest egg for every generation and tell them and teach them what to do with it. My question for you, Marlo, though, is that whole idea of getting it out the mud, right? I think that's but also, but like nepotism in a way where it's like, I'm gonna leave inheritance. They get to inherit whatever it is that I've worked hard to do and get, right? But sometimes, like, nepotism or inheriting, like, they say that, that generation ultimately ends up like hurting whatever it was that they inherited, they lose because they skipped the work part of it. And so I guess my question for you is just that, like, when we allow our children, if we go out and buy our children, because Lauren thinks she's getting an Audi. Well, she's gonna inherit her dad's Audi, whatever. And so funny because she was like, "I don't want your Jetta. My Jetta is a 2020 Jetta, right? Um, under 100,000 miles on it still, right? But I guess that's my question. Like, how do we stay away from that whole idea of, like, them dropping the ball on whatever it is that they inherit from us, and how can they appreciate it if, again, we there's this mindset that we give them? Should they have, I love what Dr. Angeline just said about, like, I had to do chores, I had to work for it, I had to, so I guess my question for you is, Is there ever a day where Jade has worked hard enough for you to give her a Benz when she graduates based on everything that she's done? She's an honor student. She's done all the things. Like, is there ever a day, even if you tomorrow you got $1 billion, right? Is there ever a time, you know what I mean? Is
I
because
still
money
think
is
this is a,
relative.
I still think an Avalon is more appropriate than a Benz. I still like you still getting a luxury car, right? You still I get you a Accord, sunroof, leather, all the things. I'll get you touch screens in that thing. I get it souped up. But I believe that there's nothing that I've ever been given, right? Y'all know I love you, y'all little truth moment when your girl was out there running with them thuggies and wuggies, right? And they was doing any old thing that they wanted to do to get their money, and I was a beneficiary of that. I ain't never appreciate that. The shoes, the jewelry, I have none of it. I don't have no medallion earrings. I have none of those things, none of those little trappings from a different life because I didn't appreciate it. Now, my little JC Penney little jewelry sets that I get, right, when I'm going somewhere, I get that nice little set. That thing used to be $99. I get it for $49. I'm feeling special. On to that. I still have that stuff. It's in a jewelry box. I take real good care of it because I spent my money on it.
Mm-hmm.
Those things like if you earn it, you appreciate it more. Jade has every pair of Jordans that ever came out. Them things be thrown around, stacked. Some of them, if she feel like they precious, she got a precious spot for them. The rest of them, she be pulling them things out the closet because she gets them with such frequency. She don't know what her daddy go through to get them on the first release date, right?
Yeah.
So I see that. I see that she doesn't have she is an expectation, like she's this part of a lifestyle for her. And so I
Yeah.
think that you have to start modestly. I'm not gonna say get it out the mud, but if you start at luxury, will you appreciate it? We see people who live on the street, we look at them, you think they homeless, you find out that they are a billionaire beneficiary living on Skid Row, not even necessarily on drugs, but just rejecting and trying to figure out what life is without that. And I think that, look, to thine own self be true,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And understand who you are. And I'm always gonna go back to you raising your kids for the world. Unless you're gonna trap them in the basement that Tiara was just talking about, you raise them, they gotta go outside. I don't wanna deal with your entitled kid when I'm trying to have lunch. I don't
Mm-hmm.
want to deal with their entitlement when I'm just, it's a parking situation and we got a thing because you're like, I don't want to deal with them. Get them under control. They
Yeah.
not mine. And I'm not going to treat them with kid gloves when I encounter them, right? The way you encounter them with love when they out of pocket, they not going to get that from me. So
Yeah.
protect your kid from somebody like me they ain't got a lot of patience, right? Keep them out of my cipher because they're gonna learn that they're not as special as they may have thought in that heated moment with a person who has lived experiences. And that, like I just think there's not enough global world preparation. These kids go traveling talking about the food is nasty. Why you went? Why did you go? If all you eat is McDonald's and Chick-fil-A, why go abroad? Stay home. You making everybody else miserable, sis.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go to these stats. It also made me think about why are they Gen Zs? Gen Zs, Gen As, Gen Zs are having such a difficult time working, right? Like why they'll go to a job and be like, "Ugh, the vibe is just off. I just can't. I just can't go to work today. I need a
The
mental health
value
day."
of mental health days. I'd be
The
like,
mental health day.
okay.
I just can't. Right? I think that's related to what we're talking about today. And literally everything is related. I just can't. I can't handle it. Let's go to these. Let's go to these the stats. The average cost of owning a vehicle continues to increase due to insurance, maintenance, and financing costs. Not to mention that gas is $7 in Los Angeles. Okay, so she said something about a hybrid. I'll take it in a second. Give me that Honda. Social media usage among teens continues shaping perceptions around wealth and lifestyle. Shaping perceptions. Whew. All right. Consumer culture increasingly targets younger demographics through influencer marketing. Y'all see the connection here. Y'all see the connection between her wanting a Benz and these stats? Yeah, it's a real thing. Many parents report financial pressure around milestone spending for their children. Again, yes. Yeah. It's my graduation. It's their prom. We got to go all out. Financial literacy conversations continue becoming more important as costs rise nationwide. So listen, it's 10:59 on the East Coast. I mean on the West Coast. It's 1:59 on the East Coast. So that means that it is almost time to go. So this has been a powerful conversation for me. I love what the queens have said. I love what you've said in the comments. I see you, Debra and Latoya and the Black Lexicon Anonymous. What's up? T Jefferson. Yeah, I appreciate y'all for coming through today and kind of having this conversation with us. We're gonna get into our final thoughts. And I want to keep them brief, 45 seconds or less, but I also want to add, I think I want to ask y'all a question. Um, da, 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 da. Um, okay. Okay. I'll come to you, Marlo, first. What makes a gift meaningful? What makes gifts meaningful? Like, how should children perceive gifts as they are as they're receiving them? Like, how should we perceive a gift? You know what I mean? This is actually a question that's here, but I like it. I get where they're trying to go. Should we change the messaging around receiving gifts? You know, should we? How should we talk to our children about receiving gifts? That's the question, and tell
I
people where they
think
can find it.
I think that gift giving, I think it starts young. I don't think you could change a 15-year-old's understanding of gift giving if you shaped it one way. But I think if you start young with young children, a gift is anything you weren't expecting. You had no anticipation of that thing, right? Or you knew you were going to get something. Maybe you didn't know specifically what it was, but I thought about you. I bought this because I was thinking of you, right? I love you. You are a person that I care so deeply for. I went around. I could have been at the crib, right? I surfed the web for hours on hours, or I went and rode around town looking for this gift, especially for you. I think that it starts there. I think that kids understanding that you were considered, I considered you in the moment that I purchased this gift, and however you make them understand that, because it's with any behavior, with they acting out, whatever they're doing, by the time they're a teenager, correcting that behavior is really on them. It's not for the parent to correct that behavior at that point. So I think starting young, I think a good idea, I used to do with young kids for Christmas was the Secret Santa, and have everybody give a gift, everybody, like collective gift giving, so that they understand what it is. I do not think plying children with gifts is ever a good idea. I will never suggest doing that.
Where can people find you? I know you got a whole family reunion in the background
The-
full of dogs.
we teaching life lessons right on the other side of this door to a little toddler. Okay, it's happening as I speak. You can find me at that Instagram handle right there on the screen. That's my name, forward or backward forward, and then the underscore on the end. I am in the process of reflecting on a book that I wrote almost 10 years ago about a time when I was a teenager who was led astray, doing things I ain't had no business doing, and how I got back to myself. So if you want to learn them jewels that I learned, go ahead and follow me over there. I'm gonna start dropping. The anniversary is August. The anniversary of the book release is in August. I'm going to start dropping the knowledge in July. See y'all then.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that I read Stranger Than Fiction in one sitting. I was like, let me see what she's talking about. It's somewhere in here, but I was like, let me see what she's talking about. I got on a plane, baby. 4 hours later, I was like, and I didn't put it down until I was done. So it's such a good book. Make sure you check my sis out. That is not a front. I am not lying. I definitely read it in one, and I've been wanting to make it a movie or a series ever since. Say I'm lying ever since. Ain't lying.
She ain't
Um,
lying.
ain't lying. All right. So my question for you is along those same lines, Dr. Angeline, and if we just can be a little bit more concise, is around gratefulness and teaching our children, or teaching people in general, teaching our nieces, our nephews, our just the kids that are in our lives, what gratefulness truly looks like. What would you say?
So again, as it was stated earlier too, recognizing that no one owes you anything and no one has to give you anything. But I also think teaching gratefulness is also done through service,
Mm.
right? That was one thing that we had to do. We had to serve our communities. We had to serve dinner or serve breakfast or go when where kids didn't have Christmas gifts, right? And go serve. So I think that was a part of teaching us how to be grateful for what we did have. So that would be my response. And shout out to you, Latoya. I heard you say hello. Thank you. I am Dr. Angeline Dean. I could be found at intersystems.rock with a Z on the end or at info@melanatedneurons.com.
Yes, but make sure you put it in the chat because that's a mouthful and a
Okay.
typeful. So make sure you put it in the chat. All
Okay.
right. My final thought is this along the lines of gratefulness. I'll add to gratefulness and to gift giving with just like learning the balance and just learning to say no. Parents, it's okay to say no. It's okay. Um, Sometimes we do want to overcompensate for the things that we didn't get or we feel bad because it's like, dang, I really wanted to get her this or I want to see the smile. There's no greater high, and I think that's the problem, than seeing our children be happy. You see them, you give them a gift. And my daughter just happens to be, that's her love language. She loves to receive gifts. So every time I give her big or small, she's like, oh my God, a Starbucks card. And I'll be like, so I want that again and again and again because it releases something for me. But at some point, you got to find a balance in yourself to just really like make sure that after a while that can turn into something really dangerous. So just make sure you're saying no and checking yourself one time, saying it's okay if I don't get her this one time. Like she doesn't have to experience all the things. Like we don't need to do Chris Brown, Usher, Missy, all the things. Like every concert that comes into town, I don't need to take my daughter. And she'll be okay, right? She'll survive. So those are my final thoughts. Say it with me, everybody in the chat on this panel. Say the word with me. Say no. One, two, three.
No.
No. Everybody
That's
say
a
no.
sentence.
All
No
right. Go
sentence.
out into the world and tell everybody no, just because, right? Protect your mental health, your spirit, all the things. Again, my name is Tiara Williams, and you are watching Fly Nubian Money. I am the proud producer of this show. I love it. I see it as a ministry here. If you this is your first time coming, welcome. But if you are interested in knowing more and seeing more, we're here Monday through Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can receive notifications for when we go live. All you have to do is text Queens to 8794A. Let's say you cannot because you at work or you in the car. Guess what? You can take us with you still because we're on Spotify. So we are now on Spotify. So take us on the road with you. Just go ahead and go to Spotify, click on Fly Nubian Money, and make sure you leave a review so people know that the show is lit and you learn things and it's good for you and it's good for us. All right, so we are going to get out of here. We thank you so much for staying with us. A shout out to you all. Have a blessed Monday. We will see you tomorrow, and be good. Now you gonna know all week that it's me and Dr. Angeline's birthday, so be prepared to be sick of this Gemini energy. Happy June 1st. The best that will ever do it is the Gemini. So yeah, be prepared to be sick of me all month. You hear me?
Happy birthday, ladies.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Okay. All right. All right. We'll see you tomorrow.